Welcome to the Study Skills video series. This introductory part is for the teacher or parent who's concerned about their child or learner's academic performance. I think that the videos in themselves will be highly beneficial, but please download them, the worksheets and the workbooks, so that the child can have the full benefit and I can continue making videos like this. Thank you.
Good morning, guys. This is Uncle Jack. And can you believe that we are already in session 8 of our study skills course? So we're almost a quarter of the way there, and after this session, we will be more or less a quarter of the way there. So what is this session all about? This session is all about active listening. Now, you will remember that in the previous session, we talked about passive listening. That is you sitting and listening while somebody else is speaking. Now you are going to participate in the conversation. That is simply what we mean with active listening. What is it that I want you to learn in this session? I want you to discover the importance of being involved in class discussions. I also want you to appreciate the contributions of your peers in class, because as a collective in class, everybody is participating in the active listening experience of the others in the class. So listen to your teacher, also listen to your classmates, and participate in class. This is what this session is all about. So why should you be involved in class discussion? Why should you participate in active listening? Well, it's simple. If you're only going to make use of passive listening, you are only going to remember about 20% of what was covered in class. But if you participate in class, you might remember as much as 70%, because the moment you start participating, you are using different senses. You are actually doing something involving more of your senses leads to much improved memory. So see that it's more than 3 times the difference. So just by participating in class, you will remember 3 times more than what you would have if you were just sitting there trying to listen. So active class involvement will improve both your memory and your understanding of the work. Here are some guidelines that you can follow when you participate in class. This, I call it active listening guidelines. The first one says, give feedback to show understanding. That could be something simple. Wow, I never knew it worked like this. Are you telling me that this is the outcome? Something like that. Paraphrase what was said. Now, paraphrase does not mean you repeat what the teacher said or you repeat what somebody else said. That will be a little annoying to them. No, paraphrase means you are listening to what the teacher said and then you are saying it in your own words, and you are also saying it a little simpler. And then the teacher will be able to know that you actually understood the work. Please distinguish between real questions and rhetorical questions. If the teacher asks you a real question, a question that requires an answer, then please respond with an answer. If she asks you a rhetorical question, in other words, a question that doesn't really requires an answer, then do not answer the question. Sometimes people will ask a rhetorical question just to make a point. Okay, so a rhetorical question, I'm trying to think of one now, would be somebody in class sneezes and the teacher says, were you in a malaria zone this weekend? Obviously, it's just a joke. She knows that you weren't in a malaria zone. She just wants to put the class at ease. Then don't start a discussion on malaria zones, because then you are not participating. Then you are taking people's attention away from what was happening in class. Ask for clarity, but only at the end of the lesson. It can be part of your feedback, but ask for clarity, okay, so that the teacher can understand that you understand. But please don't interrupt your teacher. Let the teacher speak first, and then after she's finished the sentence or her train of thought, then only ask for clarity. If you didn't understand, then please say so. It is impossible for us teachers to know whether you understood or not. And I know you think that your mom is a mind reader. She's also not a mind reader. Okay, so if you do not understand something, you must say it. And then ask for another way, an alternate explanation. Because if you're going to ask me something that I explained to you, I am going to try and explain it in another way so that you will be able to understand it better. And that's what I mean for alternate explanations. But now, guys, there's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it. So here I'm saying to you that when you ask for clarification, when you ask for another explanation, then please use I messages and do not accuse your teacher. So say something like, Miss, I didn't understand. Can you please explain again? So you're not saying there's something wrong with her. You're saying, it's the I message. I didn't understand. And then it's a question. Can you please explain again? That is the correct way to ask. Do not say to your teacher, you didn't explain that properly. Try again. Then she's going to be upset. She's possibly not going to explain. She's going to ignore you. And then you're going to tell your parents that your teacher refuses to answer your questions in class. Okay, but that's not the case. So please, this is just a general rule in life. When you want to convince people to do something, please use I messages and do not be confrontational about it. If you are unsure of an answer, guess, especially if it's a yes-no answer. Our teacher asks questions. She says, do you think this is so, yes or no? And you have no idea. Now the poor teacher is standing there and nobody is responding. Just say yes or no. Because if you say yes, then you will be rewarded if it is yes. If the answer is yes, but you said no, then at least it gives the teacher the opportunity to respond. So don't fear wrong answers. Also don't fear wrong decisions, but don't fear wrong answers, because you are going to be wrong a lot of times in life. Remember what I said to you guys before? School is a safe place. Now, even if you're not in school and you are homeschooled, then the classroom is a safe place to make mistakes. It's a safe place to be wrong. Nothing happens if you are wrong in the classroom. It just gives the teacher the opportunity to correct and guide you. Okay, you're not supposed to be the expert when you go into class, guys. The teacher is the expert. So acknowledge them as experts and please ask questions while you are in class. Then here's just a little extra listening exercise. This almost fits in between the previous session 7, and this one, session 8. So what I'm saying to you here is I want you to develop an appreciation for things that other people enjoy listening to. So I want you to listen to your favorite song multiple times. But just like you did in the passive listening exercise, now try and listen for things that you don't normally listen to. Don't sing along. You're only going to listen to your own voice. Okay. But now in this case, listen to the lyrics, because you might pick up that you're singing along to a song that you actually don't agree with. And then you might want to stop singing that song. So listen to the lyrics. Listen to the different instruments. You might like songs because they have a strong bass line and you don't even know it. Listen to the patterns and the chord progressions and things like that, so that you can at least begin to understand why you like the music. And then what I want you to have is a little get together with your friends where you share your songs and you explain to each other why you like them. And then when you listen to your friend's song, you might also appreciate more. You will appreciate them more and appreciate what they listen to more, because you're beginning to understand what it is that they enjoy listening to. Okay. Now, I want you to now download. Oh no, in this case, I actually don't want you to download this at all. I want your teacher or parent to download Activity 9, because in Activity 9, I've given a couple of riddles there. Now, they can use these riddles or they can use another riddle, but the idea is that you sit and you listen to the riddle, and then you make notes about the riddle, okay, so that you can remember what the riddle was about. But the riddle is not solved, so you now need to solve the riddle, but there's a trick. You can only ask questions that can be answered by either a yes or no. So you're going to ask these questions to the facilitator, your teacher or parent, and they are only going to answer by saying yes or no. And then you must come up with a solution of the riddle. This activity is more fun in small groups. It also means that you have to listen what other people asked and what the response was, or else you are not going to solve the riddle. And then you can just see who's able to solve the riddle first. Another way of doing it is by playing 20 questions as a bonus game. So you know how 20 questions work. If you don't know how 20 questions work, I'll gladly explain it to you. But in 20 questions, you say, I think of an object. And then please, if people do guess your object, don't change it. That's not being fair, but you think of an object, and then the other children are going, or you, when your parent is thinking of the object, you're going to ask yes or no questions again to guess what it is. Let me give you an example. So there, for instance, I am thinking of a rose. Now, all these questions that are asked here are actually quite good. Okay, so sometimes people ask questions that doesn't really bring them closer to the answer. So the first question is it alive? Now, if I say yes, it leaves you basically with three options. It's now either an animal, or it's a person, or it's a plant. So you can now ask, is it an animal? Second question, answer is no. Okay. Then the third question, is it a plant? Yes. Okay, now you've gotten somewhere. Is it a tree? No. Is it a flower? Yes. Okay. And then when you hear it's a flower, many people will say the next logical question is, what color is it? That is the next logical question, but that question is not allowed in this game. Okay, so you can now, so if you want to know what color it is, you will have to say, is it red? And in the case of a rose, that's also not the ideal question, because a rose can be red, but a rose can also be pink or purple or white. Okay, so my rose on the picture is red. Okay, but if I'm just thinking of a rose, not of a red rose specifically, then, and somebody asks, what color is it? I will just say, I can't answer that question, it's not allowed, can't say yes or no to it. Okay. And so you continue, and if you start out with 6 questions like that, believe me, you will you will come up with a solution a lot sooner than in 20 questions. Okay, guys, this is a fun activity. The only challenge I've ever had with this activity is that when I do it, children don't want to stop playing the game. So like always, set a time and give yourself and your facilitator about half an hour, 40 minutes, and then try and solve as many of these riddles as you can in the allowable time. Enjoy the exercise, and I will see you guys in session 9. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the entire video. Remember, study smart, not hard, and ask your parent or teacher to download the worksheet.